I would love anyone to raise their hand if they saw this coming. Syracuse undefeated against Clemson, also undefeated. This is the Saturday noon Eastern Time kickoff on ABC. Here's the thing about me and Syracuse. We haven't been on the best of terms this year. And it's my fault. It's not their fault. Remember the Ramen Noodle Express in week 1 took Louisville over Syracuse, a regrettable decision. And then we doubled down and we took Purdue against Syracuse. Turns out another regrettable decision. And even though that's my fault, I take my anger out on Syracuse. And so I really had to dig deep in my heart. In fact, I had to call production executive James into my office today, which they're using to give flu shots tomorrow, by the way. That's not a joke. They're giving therapeutic massages and flu shots in my office. Thanks, New Meredith. And so I'm just on a sabbatical tomorrow. If you need me, I won't be at the office. But I call James into the office and I say, make a case for Syracuse. He covers Syracuse now, does a very good job of it. And he said a few things that piqued my interest. But most importantly, I'm not so sure that a lot of America has watched this team yet this year. I've seen probably 3 of their games. And so they're a really good defensive team. But Clemson's played good defensive teams. Now, not number 1 in the ACC. I mean, they lead in points per game, yards per game, pass yards per game, explosive plays allowed. Like defensively, they're at the top or near the top of the ACC in virtually all those statistical categories. Clemson's kind of up there in a lot of them too, though. So can the upset happen? That's what we ask in these previews. Anytime we get a double-digit point spread, if we're going to take time on the show and we're going to predict the game, the first thing we have to ask is, can the upset happen? We think the answer is yes, it can happen. So then the next thing we do is we say, okay, if it were to happen, how would it happen? I got a twofold approach, and both of these things really have to come through for Syracuse. Number 1, those defensive numbers you see on the screen and the ones I just read to you, they simply have to verify. That stuff has to be on display Saturday, and you have to really grind Clemson offensively to a halt. You need this game played in the teens or maybe the low 20s, and that's your first shot. The second thing is their offensive line has to be able to force enough stalemates. They just have to buy enough time, especially if they get some short fields. They have to buy enough time to do enough through the air because they're good enough through the air. But if they don't, if they're working standard length of field and Clemson starts to do to them what they do to everyone, which is wreck an offensive front, then it's not going to be a good night. And I'll show you in just a few minutes, I'll show you what the model thinks. But Syracuse has played one true road game. I think it was UConn. So this is a different world now. And in the preseason, you would have looked at this game on the schedule and you would have said, ooh, Clemson's coming off Wake Forest and NC State and Boston College on the road and FSU on the road. And Syracuse, maybe, just maybe, Dino Babers can catch them sleeping. Well, no, because Syracuse is undefeated. So they're not sneaking up on anyone. This is a national, well, all of them are nationally televised, but this is a national attention game. And so you're going to get the full force of Clemson. Let's look at the schedule here, because after this, Clemson's got a bye, and then they go to Notre Dame. They got Louisville. They got Miami, which I think will be a much improved Miami team when they play them, and South Carolina. So let's take a look what the model thinks. Vegas number as of tonight. It's Tuesday night. We're live. Thank you for watching. Clemson is minus 13.5. The model's just higher on Clemson, and I am too. I'd be happy to be proven wrong. Well, that sounds homerish. And we all know kids like me who grew up in rural Georgia have a strange affinity for Syracuse athletics. I don't know what it is about us, but you know how we roll down there. We're going to take Clemson to win. We're going to take Clemson to cover. And after that, we'll get to a very, very much needed rest period before they enter the back half of that schedule. Right now, the Tigers an overwhelming favorite to win the ACC. They are minus 450 favorites. North Carolina, and then Syracuse, and then Miami. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't leave yet. Don't leave yet. Make sure you like the video, and please subscribe to the channel. Not just for me. That's how we keep this entire thing free.